Hello and welcome to Breaking Bread with Rivaj Maharaj, where nothing is off the table. For today's episode, we have something rather interesting, and that is an article in The Guardian regarding the United States lifting sanctions on Iranian oil. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The article in The Guardian says the US lifts sanctions on Iranian oil at sea in a bid to ease supply pressures. So right off the bat, I'm going to say, do you see the levels to which Donald Trump is prepared to go in order to make sure that the oil markets are stabilized? You know, de-sanctioning Russian oil, de-sanctioning Iranian oil, these are huge steps. And why not? You know, this oil, Iranian oil, is at sea. You're aware of where it's going to. You're aware of how much is there.
New tonight, the U.S. has paused sanctions on Iranian oil stranded on tankers at sea until mid-April. This comes as the administration tries to curb soaring oil prices and gas prices here at home. Luis Fernandez is in the live center following these developments. Luis?
Yeah, Gerald, let's go ahead and give you the new now next for the war on Iran. We're going to go ahead and start with new. Early Saturday morning in that part of the world, the Israeli military strikes have been seen in Beirut's southern suburbs. We're talking smoke and loud explosions. No casualties at the moment, but important to remember, Beirut is the capital city of Lebanon. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Lebanon at this point, and more than 1 million have been displaced. Looking at the now, going to those sanctions being lifted, this is specifically on Iranian oil that is at sea, that is stranded at sea, as all this is going on with the Strait of Hormuz and everything. So that is a 30-day sanction lift. Remember, the Trump administration is looking for ways to curb oil prices. They've also lifted some 30-day sanctions on some Russian oil as well. Of course, there are some limits to that if someone is selling to North Korea or Cuba. And finally, a note from CEO of United Airlines, Scott Kirby. He says that he is preparing for oil to reach $175 a barrel. That is a worst-case scenario. He mentioned in a message to employees on Friday, they are also preparing for oil not to return to $100 a barrel or less until the end of next year.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says move will bring 140 million barrels to market, but insists Tehran will not benefit. So, you know, the United States are now preparing to release Iranian oil onto the market, de-sanction it. Again, they're prepared to go to any length to help stabilize this market. The Trump administration has waived sanctions on Iranian oil purchases at sea for 30 days to ease surging oil prices driven by the US-Israeli war on Iran. The US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the waiver would bring about 140 million barrels of oil to global markets and help relieve pressure on energy supply. The move reflects White House concerns that soaring oil prices up about 50% to more than $100 a barrel, the highest since 2022, will hurt U.S. businesses and consumers ahead of the November midterm elections when Republicans hope to retain control of Congress. However, Bessent's earlier suggestion of a waiver raised concerns that it could benefit Iran's war effort. It is the third time that the U.S. has temporarily waived sanctions in about 2 weeks. It had previously eased sanctions on Russian oil and on Friday issued a general license allowing the sale of Iranian crude and petroleum products loaded on vessels as of Friday to 19th April, according to the license posted to the U.S. Treasury website. So the U.S. are definitely looking at every possible opportunity to ease, the oil price hikes, and the sooner the Strait of Hormuz can be unblocked, for want of a better phrase, the better it is for the oil prices. However, this does play into the hands of the Russians because higher oil prices means a greater war chest for them, as well as the Americans, because American oil producers are sitting on gold right now. You know, high oil prices means they're making money. So the Americans, the Russians, they are earning big time. It would be in their interest to see this war prolonged. However, it's not good for the Trump administration. Because if the midterms weren't carrying on, I can guarantee you this oil price hike would have continued. Because it would have played into American business and Russian business. So I want to thank you for spending time with us. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please remember, to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps us with the algorithm and it helps our channel to grow.